Last week in Atlanta, we had chaos and calamity in Turn 1 as Josh Mertz, Josh Clogg, and Bryan Sawyer all came together in one way or another, while Marcos Palacio was sent out of the track after contact with Joey Morissette. The defending supercar champion romped away with his second victory of the season, while the Irishman extended his points lead. We return to the site of the inaugural round in NASA Rallycross Lites, which had action right off the start with Jess Rakowski flying through the air after contact with Josh Clogg. What will happen tonight? We'll find out together over the next hour as the World Center of Racing is the stage for the evening. NASA Rallycross Lites from Daytona is next. Our venue for this evening is the virtual Daytona International Speedway. Opened in 1959, North American Simulated Auto Racing started visiting this circuit in 2018A, and this is the second visit of the Lites to the World Center of Racing. Running a total of 0.86 miles in length with 9 corners in total, 6 to the right and 3 to the left. The lap begins with a right-left, left-right dirt chicane with the tabletop jump in the middle, and be wary of the sausage curves at all points. Exiting turn 5 with a quick blast out to the famous oval, and another quick dirt section onto the beginning of the road course down to the Joker decision. It's a slightly shorter lap, but be wary of the commitment lines on entry and exit. Spot your braking point for the International Horseshoe, passing the start-finish line to complete a lap here in Daytona. Our format for NASA Rallycross is as follows. 19 cars will be split into 4 heat races, 6 laps apiece, Joker lap once. The top 2 will transfer to the feature. Winner gets 3 bonus points, and the runner-up gets 2. The rest of our competitors will be funneled into the semifinals, 5-lap races, Joker lap once. Those winners will also receive 1 bonus point. This sets the grid for the 10-car, 10-lap feature race where the points are rewarded and trophies are handed out. Unique to NASA Rallycross, 2 Jokers are taken during the feature. The second season of NASA Rallycross Lites continues tonight on the Automotive Sports Network. With Bryan Sawyer in the production truck, my name is Josh Mertz, up in the commentary box as always, and we welcome you to Daytona Beach, Florida. Our coverage all season on ASN is brought to you by NordVPN, your gateway to online freedom and security. Protect your digital privacy with military-grade encryption, browse the web anonymously, and access your favorite content from anywhere in the world. Receive 63% off a 2-year plan at nordvpn.com/ASNTVUSA. Also, our cameras for the entire season are provided by TrackCams22.com, and our intro music was produced by our very own Alex Abetti. Coming into tonight's race in Florida, Josh Mertz has a 13-point lead over Cody Crosgrove in the Drivers' Championship. Marcos Palacio, Bryan Sawyer, after those incidents they had in Georgia, sit 3rd and 4th. And Josh Clogg, despite missing 2 races, sits in 5th with 71 points. Matt Grove sits in 6th, Joey Morissette 7th, Eric Kaplinger 8th, Gerald DeFino 9th, and Francois Martel rounds out the top 10. The team's championship. It is a dead heat between JC Simsport and TWR Struggle Bus. They both have 180 points. Slapex Racing with 170, looking to capitalize if either of those teams make a mistake. 845 Subi and Zeem Setup Shop down the order with 78 and 51 respectively. As if this season of NASA Rallycross Lites can't get any closer, Josh Clogg fastest in seating at a 41.431 for the man from Maryland. Josh Mertz, 41.468. Marcos Palacio, 41.473. Top 3 within the same tenth of a second. Bryan Sawyer and Robbie Kirtley, 41.705 and .777, rounding out the top 5. Newcomer Hayden Loomis at a 41.819. He's the last car in that bracket. Cody Crosgrove, Eric Kaplinger, Eric Dubois, Matthew Grove, Matthew Passay, Jess Rakowski, Ignacio Teresio, Gerald DeFino, Joey Morissette, Olivier Rateau, Jake Robichaux, Joseph DiGiacomo, and Stephen Moreau rounding out the order of our seating as we get ready to grid for heat number 1. As we begin to grid for heat number 1 here in Daytona Beach, Josh Clogg on pole position, Robbie Kirtley in second, Eric Dubois, Ignacio Teresio, and Jake Robichaux. 5 cars, 6 laps, Joker lap once. Top 2 will transfer here in Daytona. Green flag off the line. Kirtley pulls Clog down to the first corner, side by side. Will Kirtley take the spot on the defending supercar champion Josh Clog? He won't. Clog off the corner, takes the spot. Side by side, Dubois and Teresio. Teresio contact with Dubois around the 034 goes. Jake Robichaux sneaks to the third spot. And Teresio in his first start here in NASA Sim Racing looks like he's going to let Dubois through. Not sure if he's going to wait fully for Dubois. I believe he will. Clog up front, about a couple car lengths from him to Kirtley. Kirtley has shown incredible pace over the last couple of weeks here in NASA Sim Racing. Great run in Atlanta in supercars and in lights. Matty Grove just reminding everyone, one joker as we round the final corner to be, end the first lap. Clog leads Kirtley. Robichaux, Teresio, and Dubois. So it doesn't look like the 42 waited for the 034. Not sure if that'll be a penalty. We'll just have to wait and see. The first lap, of course, 56.785, 57.894 for Clog versus Kirtley. It includes that little jog down to the first corner. And we'll just wait and see if Clog will continue to pull away. Kirtley's got a comfortable margin over Jake Robichaux in the 69. And will we have a joker on the second lap of the race? We will not. Kirtley still holds the second spot. Robichaux, Teresio, and Dubois. Beginning lap number 3. We get the real lap times now filtering in. Josh Clog, 41.577. Robbie Kirtley, 41.989. Jake Robichaux, 43.123. Over the jump into the wall in the 69. Teresio in the 42, 43.922, and Jake Robichaux in the tire barrier for Slapex Racing. Put him to the 5th spot. Surprisingly, Kirtley is hanging on to Clog to an extent. Clog faster that last lap, of course, and it looks like he has pulled Kirtley in the 024 on this lap as well. We'll just take a look and see when they rotate through. And with Jake Robichaux having his issue over the jump there the last lap, this puts Teresio in the catbird seat for the best grid spot, or one of the best grid spots, in the semifinal here in just a couple moments. Clog 42.1. Kirtley was faster, had a 41.972. The man from Virginia chasing down the defending supercar champion Clog in the 199 from Maryland. As we're coming to 2 laps to go here in Daytona. Still haven't seen any jokers yet, but with no pressure from third on back. Kirtley jokers. Will he come out battling Clog, rounding the corner? Clog's got the better run into the corner, but Kirtley takes the spot. No delta for Clog, or rather for Kirtley against Clog. Clog will be able to joker and take this easily unless they come together. We'll just have to wait and see. That last lap for Clog, 42.2, sneaks to the inside of Kirtley, side by side, through 4, through 5, down the straightaway. Bumpy transition from the apron back to the road course and onto the oval for just a pinch. And back into the road course. Kirtley car length between him and Clog. Teresio's last lap is a 42.9, so 7/10 down on Clog. Eric Dubois sneaking into the picture. Might give a little payback to the 42. We might have to pay attention to that, there. And Jake Robichaux in the 69. White flag for Robbie Kirtley in the 024. He's got no delta to maintain this lead over Josh Clog. He was a 10th slower that last lap. Overjumped in the 024. Opens the door for Clog. Clog down to the outside. Gives him a little nudge in the 199 to the 024. And Clog back to the race lead. And Kirtley tried all he could to maintain that lead. Clipped the curb, sent him a little bit out wide into the path of Clog, and loses the lead. Still holds the transfer in the 024. Clog will have to joker on this last lap here in Daytona Beach. So the defending supercar champion will round the final corner, and he will win heat number 1 here in Daytona Beach. Robbie Kirtley in the 2nd spot, transferring through. As jokering on the final lap is Ignacio Teresio. He will be best of the rest in the 42, followed by Dubois and Jake Robichaux. Everybody wishing good luck for heat number 2. Josh Mertz on pole position, Hayden Loomis, Matthew Grove, Gerald DeFino, and Joseph DiGiacomo. Josh Mertz not knowing the rules of his own series and not knowing that his fellow race control in this heat race. Getting ready for heat 2. Green flag. Off the line. Mertz gets a jump over Loomis for the moment in the first phase, but Loomis side by side with car number 1 down to the first corner. Grove looks to the inside on Loomis. Contact with DeFino and Grove side by side. Grove versus Loomis into the first corner, I should say. Second of the race here. Mertz pulls away. Loomis ahead of Grove. Grove all squarely over the jump. So is Loomis. So is DeFino. Everyone out of control. Loomis hits the wall. Loses second. Loses third. Put him back to fourth. DiGiacomo in the 55 in the 5th spot. And the defending champion Mertz loves this in car number 1. Huge gap already. Deep on the brakes is DeFino, nearly into the 472 of Grove. And will we see any Joker laps on the first lap here in Daytona? Car number 1, Mertz will Joker. Grove, DeFino, Loomis, and DiGiacomo do not. So Mertz just trying to get the clear track in car number 1, pulling away, trying to get the middle of the front row, because that's what Heat 2 would give you, and Josh Klog on pole position here in Daytona. Battling for the second spot, Grove gets nudged by DeFino, moved out of the way in the 845 versus the 472. Here comes Loomis. DeFino tried to give the spot back. Loomis to the inside, driver's right, down to the corner, contact between them, and this is for the transfer in Heat 2. DeFino tried to do the right thing and give the spot back, stopped in the middle of the racing line, and he loses second and third. Grove gets back to third there. Down the back straightaway into the International Horseshoe. Grove will take the Joker. Loomis will not. DeFino will not. DiGiacomo running his own race in the 55 as Mertz set a 42.610. Grove 42.858. That was with the Joker lap and all the calamity that transpired at this very sector. DeFino slides it in the 845. Can't gather it back up. Has to run off the track. Last lap for Loomis was a 42.7, 44.4 for DeFino, and for context, 45.8 for DiGiacomo in the 55. We're coming across flags for Mertz in car number 1. We're not missing anything up front, as the defending champion is light years away from the transfer battle. Loomis yet to Joker in the 115. Newcomer to NASA Sim Racing. This is his first start, and we welcome him with open arms. Jokering is DeFino in the 845. He comes out behind Grove in front of Loomis in the 115. Over the jump, all three of them. Grove had an issue landing. DeFino sneaks to the inside, again ping-ponging off of one another. Running wide is Grove, running wide is DeFino. Loomis does it again. Looks to driver's right. Over the bump, down to the oval. We're 3 wide in the hairpin. Still battling for the transfer spot. Coming to 2 laps to go. Grove, DeFino, they are trying to catch Hayden Loomis, as Loomis made the move stick this time. And will we see a Joker from the 115? We will. One and only Joker done. DeFino on the outside tried to make it stick, couldn't make anything happen. 2 laps to go. Loomis holds the transfer, and he's got a healthy margin over Grove in the 472. Mertz entering the oval once again, and Loomis just approaching that sector. So decent gap between them. Such a tricky sector to get right. You're bouncing through the apron and the road course back out onto the oval. And then it transitions back to dirt. Such precision is needed. No movement in the running order, as our defending champion Josh Mertz will take the white flag in car number 1. His last lap was a 41. He sets a 42.790. It was a 41.996. His fastest lap so far. Loomis at a 43.1. Grove at a 43.2. DeFino 43.7. DiGiacomo 43.7. He took his Joker lap on that last lap. Looking at telemetry at car number 1, he is not pushing that hard to try and make it to the checkered flag. Trying to get the car back to get that second grid spot and fight Josh Klog down to the first corner. Final corner for defending champion Mertz. Another heat win in NASA Rallycross, winning Heat 2. A long way away from Hayden Loomis in the 115 as the newcomer transfers in his first race in NASA Sim Racing. As best of the rest will be Matthew Grove, Gerald DeFino, and Joseph DiGiacomo. Heat number 3, grid. Marcos Palacio, Cody Crosgrove, Matthew Basset, Joey Morissette, and Stephen Moreau. Good luck being wished. Amongst the drivers, Marcos Palacio trying to get the grid spot where Matthew Bisset is sitting in car number 2. That is where the heat winner will grid for the feature. And Palacio trying to get a decent feature race if he makes it through, unlike Atlanta last week. Looks like a bit of a jump start from Bisset. Not sure if it's going to register as one. Green flag. Off the line. Sandwiched is Cosgrove. Nearly contact with him and Palacio. Down to the first corner. Palacio takes the spot. Nearly contact again with him and Cosgrove. Rounding the first corner. Contact with Morissette and Cosgrove. Morissette lets him gather it back up. Bisset in second. Takes the spot in car number 2. Ahead of Cosgrove in the 18. Defending sportsman champion in Rallycross Supercars. Morissette and Stephen Moreau. Rounding 4, rounding 5, heading back out onto the oval for the first time. Over the bump. Catches so many drivers out in Supercars or in Lights. Cosgrove deep on the brakes, nearly into Bisset in car number 2. And Matthew Bisset didn't have a good race last week either. He came together with Magnus Okenhaug in that heat race, there, as we remember. Final corner for Palacio. No joker at all as we end the first lap. And the Argentine Palacio leads ahead of Matthew Bisset, battling Cody Cosgrove for the transfer spot. A little bit wide in the entrance to turn 1. Over the jump, crossed up in the 2, and Cosgrove takes the spot. Bisset crossed up still, and contact with him and Morissette. Once you get into a slide in these cars, whether it's the light or the supercar, it's so hard to gather it back up. And Matthew Bisset now sits in the 5th position. Morissette in the 85. Contact with Moreau. Moreau trying to move him out of the way. Not sure if either of them had a slowdown, but they're very slow through the second dirt section there. And that explains that one. Beginning lap number 3 for Marcos Palacio, 41.821. Cosgrove will cross the line, 43.153. Bisset will joker in the 2, 45.813, so put him back to 3rd. As Stephen Moreau yet to joker. And Morissette, I think he got another slowdown in the 85. So he is down the order in last right now for JC Simsport. Not what that team needs to see, with them fighting the struggle bus for the team's championship, and struggle bus leading this heat race with Marcos Palacio. Palacio, no joker in the 83. No real reason to, especially with that big of a lead like we saw with Mertz in the last heat race. As Cosgrove, Bisset, jokering is Moreau in the 420. Will he be battling Bisset on exit in car number 2? He will not. So the newcomer who made his first start last week in Atlanta, along with Bisset, jokers and remains in the 4th position. Last lap for Palacio, 42.2, 42.6 for Cosgrove, 43.6 for Bisset, 43.0 for Moreau after that joker lap. So it's about a second and a half, I would say, is the delta. And comfortably, Marcos Palacio has that over Cosgrove. So if Cosgrove wanted his joker, he would not be able to take the lead as we come to two laps to go. As race control, just confirming if there's a slowdown, if it has to be served or not from Joey Morissette. It's a big concern. 4th wall break is session breaking in Rallycross with NASA Rallycross running 2 jokers. If you take none, or you take 1 in a heat race, or sorry, 2 in a heat race, or none in a heat race, it breaks the entire session and requires a bunch of work, as to why sometimes our shows are a little bit delayed in the supercar side of things. And Joey Morissette just erring on the side of caution, as if you break a session in NASA Sim Racing, it is an automatic disqualification from that evening. We remember Francois Martel being disqualified from Brands Hatch for doing that exact thing. White flag for Marcos Palacio. He was half a second up on Cody Cosgrove that last lap around. The Argentine looking to seal that 3rd grid spot. That's a tricky grid spot, too. With the way this start is at Daytona, it pinches you. You have to either run to the grass or potentially crash somebody. Palacio takes the joker in the 83. Cosgrove, I think, has to as well. Palacio wins. Cosgrove jokers, and he will transfer in the 18. as it was a crazy battle with Bisset, Morissette, and Moreau, but off of the final corner, Matthew Bisset best of the rest in car number 2, followed by Morissette the 85 and Stephen Moreau. Heat number 4, gridding, Bryan Sawyer, Eric Kaplinger, Jess Rakowski, and Olivier Rateau. The winner of this race will grid where Rateau is on the second row of the grid here in Daytona. Green flag. Kaplinger gets a better start in the first phase than his teammate Sawyer. Down to the first corner. Sawyer pulls him in the second phase. Down to the first corner. Takes the spot. Kaplinger slides behind his teammate. Rateau and Rakowski battling for the third spot. Through the chicane for the first time, as Kaplinger did not appear last week in Atlanta. A little bit of an argument over the setup. I wouldn't call it an argument. Call it a disagreement with the car setup resulted in Kaplinger not appearing in Atlanta. But he's back here in Daytona looking to follow his team owner, Bryan Sawyer. We'll just have to wait and see what happens here. Rakowski poked to the inside of Rateau. Couldn't make anything happen on the 999 to the 63. And we will take a look on the first Joker rotation. Kaplinger hanging with his teammate Sawyer, and Sawyer Jokers in the 88. The man who won here in the inaugural race for NASA Rallycross Lites 1 season ago. Kaplinger holds the second spot as Rakowski Jokers in the 999. So the driver from Maryland holds the third spot. Bryan Sawyer had an issue over the jump there as we took a look just for a moment. And the man from Wisconsin won that race to begin the championship and hasn't had the greatest of luck since then. Kaplinger battling with Rakowski. Kaplinger has not jokered, so he'll filter closer to his teammate. Down the back straightaway into the International Horseshoe. Will Kaplinger joker? He will in the 277. As Sawyer begins lap number 3. Kaplinger back to second. Third, Rakowski. Fourth is Rateau. Sawyer over the jump, crossed up into the wall in the 88. Here comes Kaplinger. Can he capitalize on his teammate's mistake, or will there potentially be team orders? We'll have to wait and see. Team orders, of course, legal in NASA Sim Racing. They were illegal for so long. Recently made legal over the last couple of years. And Kaplinger does not challenge his teammate Sawyer. Down the back straightaway into the International Horseshoe once again. We'll get a gauge on lap times as we take cross flags here in heat number 4. Bryan Sawyer, 43.8, 43.7 for Kaplinger, 42.5 for Rakowski, 43.3 for Rateau. Sawyer gave up some time and he ran it wide again in the 88. Not sure if there's anything going on in that 88 car, but a couple of mistakes through this heat race so far. Rakowski holds third, Rateau holds fourth. Let's ride on board Bryan Sawyer and enjoy this Daytona International Speedway circuit. Sawyer's last lap was a 42.155. We'll take a look at his 5th lap coming into the 6th lap here in Daytona in heat number 4. Off the final corner to begin that final lap, 41.979, his fastest lap so far. Kaplinger 42.834. Rakowski 42.452, her fastest lap so far. And Olivier Rateau 43.916. Sawyer looks pretty set to win this heat race, and the only thing unfortunate about heat 4 here in Daytona is you're on the second row of the grid. You do have the inside line, so if you get a better run than the second and third drivers on that front row, you might be able to beat them down to the corner, but it's going to be very hard. We'll just have to wait and C. Final corner, Bryan Sawyer takes the checkered flag ahead of his teammate Kaplinger. Best of the rest, Rakowski and Olivier Rateau. We begin gridding for semi-final A, as Ignacio Tariccio, Matthew Basset, Eric Dubois, Stephen Moreau, and Jake Robichaux. 5 cars, 5 laps, and you have to take the Joker once. Just waiting for Moreau to get on track here in the 420, but hearing that he's having connection issues with his iRacing, so unless he can connect in the next minute or so, I don't know if he will be able to take part in this semifinal. One man's misfortune are 4 gentlemen that really don't mind that Moreau will miss the race. Green flag. Off the line. Tariccio and Basset. Basset sends Dubois to the grass in the 2 against the 034. Side by side, here comes Robichaux, takes the spot. As Basset kept coming over, and I thought Dubois was going to run it into the grass, but he did not. Over the jump for the first time. Tariccio leads, Basset leads, Robichaux leads Dubois. Robichaux to the inside of Basset, can't make anything happen. Basset leaves the door open. Dubois surges between turns 4 and 5. Over the bump, down to the oval. Robichaux runs it wide. Dubois checks the 69. Lets him gather it back up in the 034. And they are battling down the order. Tariccio and Basset trying to pull away, and only the winner transfers. Robichaux in the 69 will joker. Ending the first lap. Tariccio leads ahead of Basset, ahead of Robichaux. Robichaux did not benefit from his joker rotation. He holds the 3rd spot. Running it wide in the 69. Here comes Dubois again in the 034. Dubois, oh so close to the 69, running it wide, nearly into the tires. Was the man from Maine. And again deep on the brakes, and gives Robichaux another nudge in the 034 to the 69. Twice in the same corner. Tariccio loves this in the 42. Apologies if I've been butchering that all evening long. Basset in the 2. Robichaux. Jokering is Dubois in the 034. Battling Basset. Contact between them, and Basset into the wall in car number 2. And the bad luck strikes again for the Canadian. As not sure what race control is on about, but he might be referencing the 2 nudges that he gave Robichaux, and he might be assuming that that was Dubois' fault. So, apologies for that. Unsure what's happening there. Coming to 2 laps to go for Ignacio Tariccio in car number 42. He has not jokered yet. Dubois took his joker last lap. Robichaux took his joker the first lap. Basset has not jokered. He's way down the order. And remember, there, we lost Stephen Moreau on the grid. As his iRacing is back up, but he would be completely pointless to get on track, unfortunately, in the 420. Tariccio, last lap was a 43.6. Last lap for Dubois, 43.8. Last lap for Robichaux, 45.0. And Basset, 53.730. Dubois giving him a run for his money, but Tariccio hasn't jokered yet, and he will not joker, so he will have to wait until the last lap, which is fine for him, but if I'm Dubois, that is the most heartbreaking thing when you're battling someone taking the white flag here, and just knowing that they haven't jokered yet, and you're going to do all that work for potentially no reason at all. Robichaux sits in the 3rd spot still, Basset in the 4th spot. Tariccio holds the spot. Dubois, half a car length, making a car length between them. Over the bump, down to the oval for the final time here in semifinal A. Dubois pokes his nose to the inside. Still not giving up despite Taricio's yet to joker in the 42. Down the back straightaway, through the chicane, down to the International Horseshoe. Tariccio will joker. And he will be our 9th seed this evening here in Daytona Beach, crossing the start-finish line to win the first semifinal, there. Dubois, best of the rest in the 0:34. He will come home in 11th. 13th, Jake Robichaux. 15th, Matthew Bisset. And 17th will be Stephen Moreau. 6 cars in this second semifinal. Matthew Grove, Jess Rakowski, Gerald DeFino, Olivier Rateau, Joseph DiGiacomo, and Joey Morissette. 5 laps, Joker lap once. The winner transfers here in Daytona. Green flag. Rakowski misses the start. It's Grove versus DeFino down to the first corner. Rateau, Rakowski in the middle. Morissette on driver's left. Down to the first corner. Running it wide was DeFino in the 8:45. Rounding the corner, Rateau goes to second. Side by side, Rakowski and DeFino. DeFino hooks the grass, slides and takes out Rakowski in the 999. Grove leads Rateau, leads Morissette, leads DiGiacomo, and Rakowski recovers her car in the 999, and DeFino in the 6th spot in the 8:45. Grove looking to transfer through to the feature. We'll just have to wait and see, of course, what happens. Olivier Rateau, golden horseshoe that's stuck somewhere in the Elder Rateau, because he makes the feature when crazy things happen, and he's in the best spot for something crazy to happen. At the end of the first lap, no jokers, Matty Grove leads in the 472. Rateau in the 63 in second, Morissette in the 85 in third, DiGiacomo, Rakowski, DeFino. We'll have to wait and see for the lap times to roll through. Rateau cuts the track in the 63. Not sure if that's going to be a slowdown or not. Morissette in the 85, trying to pick up the pieces and make it into the feature with no Magnus Okenhaug. It's tentatively only one JC Simsport car in this race, and it is the team owner himself, Josh Mertz. So that battle in the Teams Championship with Struggle Bus having all 3 cars making that race, this will be make or break for the team. Morissette Jokers comes out in front of Grove. Grove lets him have it in the 472. This might hinder Grove, and if I'm Olivier Rateau, I would take the Joker immediately that next opportunity, or even if you're Matty Grove as well, just to get out of the way of the traffic. We'll just have to wait and see. DiGiacomo, Rakowski, and DeFino. That running order has not changed down the order. Rateau pressuring the 472, gives him a little nudge, just to let him know he's there, the Frenchman to the man from Pennsylvania. And Morissette pulling Grove in the 85. We'll just have to wait on this rotation. Grove looking, driver's right. He does Joker in the 472. Will he go back to the race lead? Exiting the Joker. He has the run, takes the spot back. 2 laps to go for Grove. Morissette now. It's even between these guys, and there's no delta. Last lap for Morissette was a 43.8. The second lap was a 43.3 for Matthew Grove. It wasn't a Joker, so that's why we're comparing those two. And with these guys running a little slower, Morissette gives Grove a little nudge. Olivier Rateau holds the 3rd spot. Coming to the white flag here in semifinal B, and Matthew Grove once again has pulled Joey Morissette in the 85. Considerable margin, maybe 4 or 5 car lengths from the Pennsylvania native to the man from Kansas. White flag for Grove. We'll take a look at lap times. 44.2, 44.3, 43.7. Olivier Rateau half a second up. DiGiacomo and Rakowski battling like it's the end of the world for the 4th spot. 46.2 to a 43.7 over the jump. Rakowski takes the spot as DiGiacomo runs off the side of the jump. DeFino sneaking into the picture. The 845 Subi cars always racing like it's for the win, even if it is for nearly last. They battle Rakowski for the lower placings in the semifinal. Down the straightaway to the International Horseshoe, Matty Grove off the final corner, 10th and final seed here in Daytona Beach, as Olivier Rateau, best of the rest, ahead of Joey Morissette in the 85. 12th Rateau, 14th Morissette, 16th DeFino, 18th Rakowski, and 19th Joseph DiGiacomo. Qualifying is over. The feature race in Florida is next.
You're so interesting.
I love your browser history.
I like that you're not hiding anything from me.
By the way, nice IP address. I like your neighborhood.
You are so special. This ad is just for you.
I learned so many things from you.
You are so generous with your personal data.
Switch on privacy, switch off trackers and viruses. Go to nordvpn.com. NordVPN. Safely be you.
Side nearly 3 wide of Matt and Palacio. Front bumper of Betti down to turn 2. Clog takes the lead. Will still has him jokered inside. Clog on McKenna. Contact between them. Well, Romain Mertz has led all evening long, but Schofield to the inside, and he makes it stick. Funny story about Bryan Sawyer. He showed up to the track 5 minutes ago with 0 practice, and each lap increasing in pace for the man from Wisconsin. Mertz deep on the brakes in the 812, clobbering the curve to get by Olivier Rateau. We welcome you back to round 10 of the championship overall and round 6 of the second season of NASA Rallycross Lites here in Daytona Beach with Bryan Sawyer in the production truck. My name is Josh Mertz, up in the commentary box, as always, on the Automotive Sports Network. Just a reminder, our coverage tonight was brought to you by NordVPN. For up to 63% off a 2-year plan, visit nordvpn.com/ASNTVUSA, and our cameras for the entire season are provided by Track Cams 22. Grid for our feature here in Daytona: Josh Clog, Josh Mertz, Marcos Palacio, Bryan Sawyer, Robbie Kirtley, Hayden Loomis, Cody Crosgrove, Eric Kaplinger, Ignacio Terusio, and Matthew Grove. Thank you for joining us on the Automotive Sports Network as we get ready to go green here in Daytona Beach. Green flag in Daytona Beach. Off the line. Good start from the top 3. Clog on the inside. Mertz in the middle. And on the outside is Palacio. Now to the first corner. Clog gives Mertz a little nudge into Palacio. We're 3 wide. And here comes Sawyer in the 88. Clog pulling away. Mertz in the middle of the struggle bus. Contact again. Contact with the struggle bus. Over is Palacio over the radio, having a nice little scream there. Put the 83 back to last. Sawyer's in 9th. And the guy that loves this is Josh Clog. The 199 begins to pull away. I believe that Mertz had a slowdown after skipping the jump, so he gets past. Around goes Terusio in the 42, and Cody Crosgrove has gathered the car back up in the 18. Looking at second, Hayden Loomis and Robbie Kirtley. They are battling for the second spot. Will we see any jokers on the first lap of the race? Clog so far ahead, he doesn't have to worry about these guys taking a joker. Loomis does not. Kirtley, Grove, Mertz does in car number 1, trying to get the spot back, exiting the joker, battling with Loomis. Car number 1 turns in, clips the curb, and around goes both of them. Loomis taken out from the defending champion. Mertz trying to get back going again, crossing the track. Loomis gets hit, there from Palacio, and Crosgrove sneaks through to the middle. And again, Mertz has to skip the jump, and the night has gone from bad to worse for the defending champion. Let's get a reset. Clog, Kirtley, Grove now in third. Kaplinger, Sawyer with no rear wing on that 88 car after flying. Terusio, Cosgrove, Palacio, and Mertz in car number 1. Don't use the radio on car number 1. Don't turn it on. It's probably going to be nothing but naughty words. Sawyer Jokers in the 88. Gets ahead of his teammate, Kaplinger, in the 277. Last lap for Clog, 42-0. Kirtley in the 024, there, 42.5. Taking a look at the back of the field, car number 1 overjumps. Palacio having issues as well, and Mertz has parked it. The defending champion out in Daytona Beach, put him to 9th. Will this affect the championship leader? It will have to at some point. We'll just have to wait and see, but Cosgrove is down the order on points as well. So Josh Clog might have the best chance to gain some points, which is hilarious because he missed 2 races earlier in the season. Kirtley sits in second in the 024. So far, a surprise podium again in lights for the man from Virginia. And Matty Grove in the 472 sits in third, battling with Sawyer in the 88. Sawyer, one of the fastest cars on track, despite it being crumpled into numerous different shapes. Kaplinger in the 277 sits in the 5th spot. Terusio, Cosgrove, and Palacio. Palacio still running after flipping. No rear, or no front bumper, I should say, on the 83. Beginning lap number 5 for Josh Clog in the 199. We'll take a look. 42.348. Kirtley, 42.1. So he was 0.2 up on Clog that last lap. Kirtley has a joker left. Clog has not taken any jokers. Grove has a joker left. Sawyer has a joker left. Overjumping. Sawyer hits the curb through 4, through 5 to the inside and takes the spot on the 472 of Grove. Put him to the 3rd spot tentatively. Grove sneaks to the inside on Sawyer. Can't make anything happen. Sawyer leaves plenty of room against them. Kaplinger, Terusio, Cosgrove, and Palacio. Cross flags for Clog in the 199. Took the lead off the start. Maintained the lead when everyone decided to crash behind him for the 2nd consecutive week. And we talked about Olivier Rateau having a golden horseshoe shoved somewhere. I think that Josh Clog might have one as well, at least in lights, because supercars, terrible luck for the defending champion. Kirtley holds second. He was 0.4 up on Josh Clog that last time around. Sawyer 43.0. Grove, 44.0. Kaplinger 42.7. Terusio, Cosgrove, Palacio, running order has not changed. Coming to 4 laps to go for Josh Clog in the 199. Let's take a ride on board and listen to the race leader. Clog jokers in the 199 to begin his strategy and increase his lead. 3 laps to go. Kirtley still holds second. Sawyer trying to pull away from Grove. Kaplinger jokers in the 277. Will he come out battling his teammate? Exiting, he will. The struggle bus thought they were going to be side by side. Kaplinger holds the spot by a car length over Sawyer. This is what Grove doesn't want to see, is now 2 struggle bus cars in front of him. As Terusio, Palacio still trucking on in 8th, and Cody Cosgrove in the 7th position. Sawyer gets by Kaplinger, and Clog rounds the final corner to take 2 laps to go in the 199. Kirtley in the 024 still holding second, as Sawyer will take his second joker in the 88. He's not going to come out anywhere close to Kirtley, so Kirtley on merit / everyone crashing looks like he is on pace for that 2nd place again here in Daytona. I think it's going to be a battle for the 3rd spot As that wreck under investigation with Bryan Sawyer wadding up the entire field. Kaplinger, I think, might be battling Grove for a podium, but we'll just have to wait and see. We'll get you official results, of course, next week when we are in Bark River. White flag for Josh Klog in the 199. His last lap, 42.7. He just set a 42.2. Kirtley was a 42.5, and he just set a 42.0. Sawyer still holds third. Kaplinger fourth. Grove takes his second joker. He comes out battling Kaplinger and takes the spot. I think Kaplinger might have a joker left, so it might be for naught with Grove in the 472, and the running order of Terusio, Cosgrove, and Palacio has not changed. It looks like it's going to be 2 consecutive weeks that Josh Klog had a golden horseshoe stuck somewhere, because the man from Maryland threw the joker for the final time, wins again, back-to-back in NASA Rallycross Lites. Jokering again is Kirtley. He gets his second podium back-to-back in NASA Rallycross Lites. Kaplinger has to joker in the 277. Final corner for Sawyer, tentatively third. Kaplinger fourth. Grove in fifth. Terusio sixth. Seventh, Cosgrove, unable to capitalize on Mertz's issues this evening. As Palacio eighth. Mertz ninth. And Hayden Loomis rounding out the feature. Car number 1 not very happy. And just confirmation of the semifinal results. Semifinal A, it was Dubois, Robichaux, Basset, and Moreau. That's 11th down the order in the odd positions. And then the second semifinal was Olivier Rateau, Joey Morissette, Gerald DeFino, Jess Rakowski, and Joseph DiGiacomo. That's 12th down the order in the even positions. Points exiting unofficially here in Daytona Beach. Josh Mertz, 11 points over Cody Cosgrove, despite Mertz having a terrible race and being out since lap 2, with Cosgrove being taken out in turn 1 as well. 123 versus 112. Palacio, 105. Klog, 99. Only 24 back. That's less than a race win. If Mertz and Cosgrove and Palacio still have terrible races and Klog continues to win, who knows what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. Bryan Sawyer 5th with 97, Matty Grove, Joey Morissette, Kaplinger, Kirtling, and DeFino rounding out the top 10. Teams Championship, Struggle Bus beginning to pull away, 13 points ahead of Slapex and JC Simsport, with Mertz making it through to the feature, the only car that did for that team, and having a bad race. They slipped to third as 845 Subi and Zine Setup Shop tied for the 4th position. Just a couple programming notes here on the Automotive Sports Network as we say good evening. The Overwatch Specialty Service NASA Rallycross Challenge will continue round 7 in Bark River in Michigan. That'll be Monday, July 31st, 9 p.m. Eastern on ASN Live. You'll join myself, Bryan Sawyer, Cody Erdman, and Philip Cross for that one. That is an incredible track up in Michigan and beginning the Area 52 Designs Endurance Cup. NASA Rallycross Lites has their 7th round in Bark River as well. You'll catch that coverage Saturday, August 5th, 9 p.m. Eastern on ASN On Demand. Myself and Bryan Sawyer for that one. And round 3 of the Woven by Toyota NASA Sports Car Challenge will be at Circuit of the Americas in Austin, Texas. That'll be Thursday, August 10th, 9 p.m. Eastern on ASN Live. Our coverage tonight was brought to you by NordVPN. For up to 63% off a 2-year plan, visit nordvpn.com/ASNTVUSA. Also, cameras for the entire season are provided by TrackCams22.com, and our intro music was produced by our very own Alex Abetti. The checkered flag falls on the evening. From all of us at the Automotive Sports Network, from Philip Kraus, Cody Erdman, and Bryan Sawyer, my name is Josh Mertz, as we hope you enjoyed today's coverage of NASA Rallycross Lites from Daytona. Be sure to join us Monday evening for Supercars, but until then, so long everyone.